Hello, welcome to OCBT today. My name is David. And in today's special class, we'll be taking Post-UTME English likely questions. So these are the most likely questions you should encounter in your Post-UTME exam. Now, I have covered this about 16 schools. So the questions I have here, 40 curated questions, are touching all of these schools, including University of Ibadan, UNIPORT, DELSU, EBSU, TASUED, FUNAAB. You can see your school here. All right. So you want to take this assessment really serious and practice over and over again and master them, right? Because they would work for virtually all the schools, right? So let's go into it. Question 1, from the section of grammar and structure. You can see the year I took the question from 2022, and you can make reference to the school, which is ATBU. Now, if I dash earlier, I wouldn't have missed the bus. If I dash earlier, I wouldn't have missed the bus. Now, this is a conditional statement. It's a third conditional statement. In other words, if the correct option from left, we have option A, left, option B, at left, option C was leaving, option D, leaving. So the correct option for this statement would be, if I had left earlier, I wouldn't have missed the bus. Now note that had and have will always go together on both sides of the sentence or of a statement. So once you see have on the right side, you should know that the left side has got to be had, okay, because it's in the third conditional tense, right? So if I had left earlier, I wouldn't have missed the bus. Correct. Question 2, 2021, taken from UNIPORT. Neither of the two candidates dash qualified for the position. Neither of the two candidates dash qualified for the position. Like I've often said in previous past questions, I also made a very special one. So this is about the part 2. So I made a part 1 a few days ago, which you can check in the channel. I've often said that in a statement like this, you have subjects. You have subject and verb. And there is a rule for subject-verb agreement. So the subject must always agree to the verb. Okay? Now, in this statement or this sentence, you have candidates. Candidates is the subject rather. So what has to be in the verb what has to be in the space or the gap has to be the verb. So neither of the two candidates dash qualified for the position. Now you have neither. Neither means not one. So neither has actually singularized this statement or this sentence. So we can actually put this sentence as not one of the two candidates. So what will now be the verb? Because it's now in the singular. So not one of the two candidates is qualified for the position. It won't be are because it's no longer in the plural. Neither is a singular term. So the verb for it will be is qualified for the position. Question 3 from 2022, University of Ibadan. The boy, together with his sisters, dash going to the party. The boys, together with his sisters, dash going to the party. What has to be in the dash? Now, this is also a subject-verb kind of stuff. So the boy together with his sister. The boy together with his sister. Are you following it? So the boy and his sister has been joined into one group. So they are now a group. So they have obtained the singular form. The boy and his sister have been put together as the boy together with his sister. So what is the verb going to be? It's going to also be in the singular. So the boy together with his sisters is, not are, because it's now in the singular, is going to the party. Correct. So that's option C right there. Question 4, 2023 for now. Are they as well as his brothers dash present at the ceremony? Are they as well as his brothers dash present at the ceremony? This is close to what we had in question 3. Are they as well as his brothers? So as well as has also brought Abi and his brother into a singular unit or a singular group. So, and like I said, the subject and the verb must agree. So Since the subject now is singular, what has to be in the verb? It has to also be in the singular. So are there as well as his brother? Which of the options will fit? Is it are, was, were, be? That would be was. Are there as well as his brother? Was present. Because there is no other singular verb there. Okay? So are there as well as his brothers? Was present at the ceremony. Question 5 from 2020 TASUED. He was accused dash stealing. Accused dash stealing. Now wherever you see accusation, it's always of. Somebody is always accused of something. So that one is just an English rule. Okay. So keep that at the back of your mind. People are always accused of something. People always admit of something. So when you meet these kinds of words, just know that what will be in that gap will be what? Of. So he was accused of stealing. Alright? Accusation is always of something. Question 6. 2019 UNIDEL. If I dash the money, I would have bought the car. If I dash the money, I would have bought the car. Now we saw this question in question 2. Alright, this is also a conditional statement. Alright, it doesn't have the money, so it's like condition. If I had, okay, so if I had the money, like I said, if you see have on the right side, you know that had has to be on the left side. And if you see have on the left side, know that had has to be on the right side. They always go together, right? So if I had the money, I would have bought the car. Option A is the correct one. Question 7, 2018 EBSU. By this time tomorrow, they dash their papers. By this time tomorrow, they dash their papers. The A will write their papers. B will have written their papers. C are writing their papers. D would write their papers. The correct option will be what? Will have written their papers. That's like the future perfect tense. By this time tomorrow, they will have written. Perfect tense, written their papers. So correct option is B. Question 8 now, 2022 DELSU. He behaves as though he dashed the owner of the house. He behaves as though he dashed the owner of the house. Option A, where. B, is. C, was. D, be. Now, the correct option here is where. And why is it where? Now, this is an hypothetical statement. Okay, unreal statement. He's not the owner of the house. He's just behaving as though he was or he were the owner of the house. So in hypothetical statements, unreal statements, subjunctive moves, you would always use where. Alright? Like someone said, if I had known, I wouldn't have done it. Or if I were there, this wouldn't have happened. So that tells you that it's unreal. It wasn't there, or the person wasn't there. So it's often used in regret, remorse, okay, accusation. So it behaves as though he were the owner of the house. Option A. Question 9, 2020 ESUT. It's high time you dash to class. Okay, there's also another rule in English. Wherever you see high time, the conjoining word will be in the past. Okay, so in this case now, it's high time you went to class. It's high time you ate your food. It's high time you took the nap. It's high time you slept. Not you sleep. Not it's high time you sleep. No. It will always be in the past wherever you see high time. So there are several rules to English as this. If you don't know those rules, you will think in your mind that, oh, I killed the exam. And then by the time you came out of the exam hall and you saw your script, it was CBT, you saw your script or you saw your score an hour later, you'll be shocked that what happened. Yes, because you don't know certain English rules. So it's high time you went to class. So question 10 now from NGU. The man denied dash the letter. The man denied dash the letter. This one also, the man denied writing the letter. You have writing, you have to write. You have rights, you have written. The man denied writing the letter. Yes, that's the correct option. Now, if you have watched up to this point, question 10, and you've been enjoying the class or learning something new, why not smash the subscribe button and like the video? Because by liking the video, it does suggest to YouTube that the content is good enough to be pushed to larger audience, right? Good. Now with that, we come to the end of that section and we are moving to lexics and vocabulary, the use of words. Question 11 from 2021 OOU. A person who writes for newspaper is called a what? A. Journalist. B. Printer. C. Reporter. D. Broadcaster. No, reporter and broadcasters are similar. They cast the news or they cast the writing, right? But journalist gathers the news and puts his thoughts on paper. Okay, doesn't even only have to be a writer. Journalists don't only write news. So a person who writes for newspaper is called a journalist. Question 12. UNIMED 2019. The opposite of scarcity is what from these options? You have poverty, affluence, surplus, and plenty. What's the opposite of scarcity? Scarcity is a state of being in lack, of having inadequacy. So what would the opposite of that be? That would be what? Plenty or surplus, right? So the opposite of scarcity should be, I would go with surplus. Yes, that means there's just more than enough. All right. Plenty means there is a good amount. It's available. But surplus means, man, it's there. It's more than enough. Okay. So question 13. 2022 Rivers State University. The synonym of benevolent is what? We've come across these questions in several schools. So the synonym of benevolent is what? You have generous, wicked, hostile, and you have harsh. So the opposite of the synonym. What's synonym? Another word for. Alright, so a related word, a relative word. Okay, so the synonym of benevolence would be what? Generous. A person who is benevolent is generous or kind or charitable or a giver or a lover. Alright, so that's it. Option A is the correct option. Question 14 from 2018, University of Ibadan. The antonym of extravagant. What's antonym? It's like saying the opposite or a very close word in opposite or a close phrase in opposite, right? So the antonym of extravagant is what? You have thrifty. No, thrifty is actually, yes, thrifty will be the correct option because thrifty is like somebody who doesn't spend at all, who saves. That's probably where they got that word thrift from. Thrift means saving. Thrift store is like a saving shop. It's a store where people go deposit their money or save their money. So thrifty is somebody who saves, minimizes. Okay, while extravagant is somebody who spends and lives large. Okay, so question 15 now from Abu. The student was praised for his candor. This means what? If you don't know what candor is, how could you attempt the question? So you need to know what candor is. And what is candor? It's just an act of discipline, honesty, integrity. Right? So the student was praised for his integrity. So candor simply means honesty. Okay? So that's correct option. Option A. If you have continued with us up on to question 15, it still shows that you are enjoying this great content. To get more past questions as this and practice for your upcoming exam, why don't you check the links in the description where you can find links to download our apps on iOS Store and Google Store and begin to practice hundreds of these past questions for free. Let's continue with the questions. Question 16. 2023, University of Port Harcourt. Choose the correct interpretation. He is in high spirits. He is in high spirits. Okay, so this is an expression. He's in high spirits. So what is it meant by when they say, or when it is said that someone is in high spirits? Is the person drunk? No, it's not a literal term, or it's not literally used. Is the person cheerful, sleepy, or arrogant? The correct option is cheerful. So the person is cheerful. When you hear something next time as she's in high spirits, means the person is cheerful, the person is feeling good. Question 17 from AAU. The phrase to feather one's nest, means to what? Is it to decorate the house? No. To make money unfairly? To keep birds? To save money is an expression. Alright? So an idiomatic expression too. So and to feather one's nest just simply means to make money unfairly or to make money in a dishonest way. It's like politicians making money off government parastatals. So you could say they feathered their nest, alright, with companies, with countries' boots. Good. Question 18 now. 2021. The idiom to bite the dust means what? A. To be defeated. B. To eat sand. C. To fall in love. D. To fight. The idiomatic expression to bite the dust simply means to be defeated. When a person is defeated, he has beaten the dust. And it's often used in battle. It's just like two warriors are fighting, and this other one put the spear into warrior B, and warrior B falls to the ground with his face to the earth, and his mouth is on the floor. So he's biting the dust. You understand where that expression actually came from? So it's option A. Then 19 now. 2020. This one is used, you see, I put in bracket, used by many schools. A lot of schools actually use, you would find these questions in several schools. So the expression Achilles heel means what? I've had this a lot and I've used it too a couple of times. So actually means weak point. That's my Achilles heel. Alright, so where does this come from? Achilles was actually a very great man, okay, legend that worked this hard, okay, and he was well hammered from the top of his head to his feet. But the only place that was without hammer was his heel. And where's your heel? Just around your ankle area. That was the only place that was without hammer. So to today, people use that expression as Achilles' heel. That's his weak point or a weak point. Good. Question 20. Unilearning style question. The expression throw in the towel, you definitely will have heard this one. This is a popular one. Throw in the towel means what? To give up, to surrender, to quit. Okay, so when you hear that, you know what it means. Question 21 now. Alright, so with that, we come to the end of that section, and then we are going to literary appreciation of words. Alright, 2023 DELSU. The moon smiled on the village square. The device here is what? Okay, the moon smiled on the village square. What kind of speech is in play there? What figure of speech? The figure of speech here is personification. Why? Because it's human beings that smile. And it is said that the moon smiled on the village square. So the moon has been given attributes of a human being. And when an inanimate thing, an object, has been given the attributes of a person, of a human being, the figure of speech often in play is personification. Okay, 22. Abu. A 14-line poem is called simple. We've had this question now. I can't even count the number of times. So a 14-line poem is called a sonnet. A sonnet is a 14-line poem. And we'll cover this more in literature in English, which I'll be taking a video on probably soon. 23. The child is the father of the man. Okay, now that looks confusing, right? When you hear the child is the father of the man, is an example of what? Is it paradox, simile, metaphor, or irony? And the correct option is what? It's paradox. It's a paradoxical statement. And what does the paradox mean? Paradox is a statement that does, when you read it at first, does not make sense. Okay? Until you read it again and understand the deeper meaning or the deep meaning to it. Right? So the child is the father of the man simply means that most men at their old age, they become children to their sons and daughters. You understand that now? So when your parents are like 90, 95, 100, they start living with you. You start being the one to take care of them. When they are 80, they become your babies. Right? So that's what it simply means by the child is the father of the man. It's a paradoxical statement. Question 24. The main character in a play is known as the dash. The main character in a play is known as the dash. We have A, protagonist, B, antagonist, C, narrator, D, foil. So the correct option is protagonist. The main character, the hero, the lead, the main voice, the boss, the character, either a drama, a play, or whatever, is often the protagonist. 25. Now, OOU. Okay, the play Death and the King's Horseman was written by who? We have legends here. J.P. Clark, legend. Wole Soyinka, legend. Olarotimi, legend. Ngugi Watong, legend. So, but which among these legends wrote the play Death and the King's Horseman? And that man was highly esteemed Wole Soyinka. And what did that play actually talk about? We talk about the king, the horsemen of the king, having to die after the king dies. It's actually a tradition in many Yoruba land. Probably it's passing away now, but that's what the play said. And once the king dies, they would often, in a befitting way, in a nice way, put his horseman, the one who carries the king, okay, on the horse ride. They will often put him to death to accompany the king to his eternal home. See, so Yoruba has many funny traditions. So that was one of them, as we saw in the play. Question 26 now. ESUT. In literature, aside means what? What is aside in literature? You have A, words spoken to oneself on stage. No, that's a little quiet, right? You have B, words spoken by a character, not heard by others. Yes, that's the correct word. It's almost a literal, it almost have that literal meaning of pulling someone aside, or idiomatic meaning, pulling someone aside. Simply means you want to discuss with this person what you don't want other persons to be aware of, right? So that is it right there. 27. NDU. The use of exaggeration for emphasis is what? Which of these expression or figure of speech do we use exaggeration? And that would be what? Hyperbole. Hyperbole. As tall as a giraffe, right? As tall as a Iroko tree. Nobody said, the man is as tall as an Iroko tree. No man can be as tall as an Iroko tree. So that is an exaggeration, right? So, and the use of exaggeration is simply hyperbole. Number next, Shakespeare Macbeth is a dash. What's that Shakespeare Macbeth story? It was the title of the writing was Macbeth and was written by Shakespeare. It talks of the central play or the protagonist, which was Macbeth, that planned the death and the destruction of the king in order to usurp the powers to themselves. So it highlighted greed, jealousy, which led to the eventual downfall of Macbeth. So it's a tragedy because it ended badly, right? It can't be a comedy. Comedy doesn't end badly. Comedy makes people happy, right? So, but tragedy ends badly. So any play that ends or writing that ends badly is a tragedy. 29 from TASUED. Animal farm is an example of what? Which of these? Fable, myth, epic, or legend? Some people call this fable in Nigeria. But this is supposed to be called fable. So animal farm is an example of a fable. In this animal farm writing, the world or society was likened to an animal farm. Okay, and the leader was likened to be what? A pig. Yes, you get that. So it's a fable. And fable is just how do I say? I'll just say a funny story that will teach you a moral lesson. Mostly story of animals like tortoise and the lion, something like a tortoise and the hare. Those kind of stories you read in primary school that taught you patience, taught you hard work, taught you perseverance, relating to animals. Those are fables. 30. FUNAAB. The climax of a play refers to the dash. What's climax? In literal sense. Climax just means the highest point of something. Right. So the climax of a play will definitely now be what from the option? The highest point of an action. Option A. Alright. Now we are rounding down to the last 10 questions there. So now we move to comprehension and registers. 2022, this one was taken from UNILAG. In a passage about climate change, the main theme would be about what? You have global warming, agriculture, rainfall, and desert. What would the main theme be about? It would be about global warming. Anytime you hear of climate change, you are simply hearing of global warming. It's global warming they say that causes climate change, that causes flooding, that causes earthquakes. They said the universe is getting hotter or whatever it is. So global warming. 32. UNIMED. In a passage, the phrase white elephant project means what? You must have heard something like this phrase, white elephant. So white elephant project means what? White elephant project just means a big but useless project. Okay, so a useless project, although it's massive, but it's useless. Okay, why? It actually stems from white elephant being kind of like a useless animal in many people's understanding. Okay, in some traditional settings, they consider white elephant as unsellable. You couldn't sell the up, nobody will buy it. Right, so it's big for nothing, useless project. 33. UNIPORT. A doctor's language in medical registrars is mostly what? Is it informal, formal, technical, casual, or poetic? The correct option without wasting much time on this is formal and technical. You don't even understand it except another medical professional explains it to you. 34. OOU. The underlined figure of speech in as white as snow. Actually, it's not underlined this time. It's italic. In as white as snow is what? You have simile, irony, hyperbole, alliteration. Now, wherever you see has dash, okay, that's what you definitely have been taught since primary school. Simile, okay, as fast as a cheetah, as wise as a is this serpent? Yes. So as wise as a serpent, as fast as a cheetah, all those are simile in action. Good. 35. In comprehension, the tone of a passage that expresses sadness is what? You have melancholic, joyful, indifferent, morose. So, what's melancholism? Just if you don't know what melancholic is, okay, maybe you go and read a book called Why You Have the Way You Do, then you would understand in detail what are the characteristics, trait of melancholism, melancholic as an attribute, right? So it's simply sadness. So melancholic people are often having some mood swings of sadness, right? So the tone of the passage that expresses sadness is melancholic. Good. 36 now. River State University. Which is not a feature of a formal letter. So which of these options should not be in a formal letter? Date should be in a formal letter, of course. Salutation should be in a formal letter in a subtle way, right? I hope this letter makes you well. That's salutation, right? Subscription, well, subscription is not, I'm not really sure I get what this is, but I'm also sure that slang should not be there. So I think probably the examiner made a mistake with subscription, but I'm also going to go with slang because slang should not be in a formal letter. It's when you are writing an informal letter, you are writing to your friend, your parent, you may use your slang. Okay, but if you are writing to the governor, it's not acceptable. 37. The word recipient in a letter, the word recipient in a letter means what? Who are the recipients in a letter? First of all, what is the meaning of recipient? Recipient simply means receiver, right? The one who reads the letter, who you aimed the letter at. So the word recipient in the letter simply means the receiver of that letter. 38 now, 2020. The expression to put the cat before the horse means what? Yes, you must have had this several times. You put the cat before the horse. Okay, so it's a wrong arrangement of things. You're supposed to put the horse before the cat, right? It's the horse that will drive the cat and cause movement. So it means to do things in the wrong order, to put things in the wrong order. So that's option A there. And then 39, 2019 from FUNAAB, the synonym of plausible. Plausible. What's the meaning of plausible? First of all, plausible means believable. Okay? So something that you can believe, that you can accept, right? That you can trust. So synonym of plausible, another word for plausible is believable. And the last one for this session, 2021 UNIDEL. The opposite of optimism is what? First of all, what's optimism? Is the act of expecting good things to happen, being positive about an event, future, having a little faith, right? A little trust. And what's pessimism? Seeing no hope for the future, having doubts, uncertainty, fear, and worry. So the opposite of optimism is what? Pessimism. So with that, we come to the end of the 42nd part of the most likely questions that you should encounter in your Post-UTME exam to the university of your choice in Nigeria, right? I hope you enjoyed them. If you have different ideas to any of the questions I've answered, maybe a better idea you want to point me out, I'm open for corrections. Please let me know in the comment section and I'll be happy to update those questions in the next video I make. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Make sure you like the video and share to friends. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Hi, I'm sure you enjoyed the content you just watched. To see more episodes as that, preparing you for your oncoming exams, smash the subscribe button on this channel right now and visit the playlist that we've made for you, covering over 50 types of different exams, including JAMB, WAEC, Kakao,